And it is a new way to apply 3D technology, and it could drastically reduce police response times during an emergency at a school. One company is making interactive maps of our schools to let those first responders know where to go in situations like fires or even an active shooter situation.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Some lawmakers in Utah say they were very impressed to see these virtual maps in action. But the big question is, will schools be able to afford them? Paul Nelson has more in this Crisis in the Classroom report tonight.
The lawmakers I spoke with say this is game-changing technology that could dramatically reshape how police train for a school shooter scenario. But for now, lawmakers have to decide if they should give funding for this or for one of several other security upgrades that schools need.
We have digital twin imaging here.
Earlier this year, the Utah School Security Task Force was approached by Digital Twin Imaging, who wanted to show how they can take a 3D map of any structure.
It does give us an opportunity to see inside of a school and eventually to train without having to interrupt class.
This is a video from DTI showing their scan of a school in Iowa. DTI Vice President of Tech Services Elliot Barnes says they logged every window, every door lock, even where the defibrillators and water connections were.
Gives them an entire map of the structure and all the assets that are placed throughout it, and really just gives them a wayfinding tool that helps them get from point A to point B.
Barnes says they tested SWAT teams' response times in 2022 to see how quickly a team could hit their simulated target inside a school. If a team entered the school blind, the average time to target was reportedly 7 minutes and 24 seconds. But if they studied the map for 1 minute before entering, the average time was under 30 seconds. DTI offered to scan a school in Utah, and the task force chose Weber High School.
If you've ever been to Weber High, it's a little bit older facility. It's built up on the hill, so there's multiple layers and not a lot of exterior lighting, and so we felt that that was probably a challenging project.
School district spokesman Lane Finley says DTI scanned every inch of the school.
If you had, say, an incident inside a school, first responders could pull up that 3D map and see exactly what those hallways look like, how to navigate through the school.
Officials have announced that 19 children have died after they were shot inside their Texas elementary school.
DTI founder Dr. Maria Bell says the shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, convinced her to pivot the focus of the company to school safety. 21 people were killed in that attack.
I think everybody was traumatized by watching that footage. It was clear that the first responders didn't know the protocols they should be following, didn't know about the interior of the school, and it was just total chaos.
When Bell started DTI, she wasn't aiming to create interactive maps of schools. She's a gynecological cancer surgeon specializing in robotic surgery.
What robotic surgery is I'm seated at a console and I have my head inside this like giant viewfinder, and I'm using joysticks and foot pedals to maneuver the instruments that are inside my patient's body that's about 6 feet away.
She grew to love augmented and virtual reality and wanted to create a VR space where people could ask medical or psychological questions. But now she hopes LiDAR scanning can help first responders protect children while they're in school.
Once you have that created, then you can manipulate it and do things with it and get it into other virtual worlds.
So, how much? We received an estimate from DTI saying if they were to scan every public school in Utah, it would run just over $5.1 million. But they also have a grant program that can help schools offset those costs. Paul Nelson, KUTV 2 News.